God bless you both. Touch love.
It's a let's see, let's do it this way. It's a good fight, but it's a step back. It is a step back from David Lemieux. Mark Murray is a good fight for Billy Joe Saunders, but the number one question people are asking is like, well, what the fuck? Why not Danny Jacobs? Let's just jump right into it. Listen, it's that political, bullshit where you have Danny Jacobs, who signed with Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn is Matchroom Promotions, Sky Sports, different network. This fight, Billy Joe Saunders, Frank Warren. Frank Warren is BT Sport, BoxNation. It's similar, just on a very obviously smaller scale, to what was going on with Mayweather versus Pacquiao, where two networks that didn't work together had to come together for a fight where it said, listen, the fight is too big for us not to put it together. We both going to win. In this case, for Billy Joe Saunders and Danny Jacobs, it's not that simple. People have been saying that Danny Jacobs now, in hindsight, made the wrong decision, but in reality, he signed to HBO. He's always going to have fights on HBO, and also he's still in the mix in regards to Canelo or Golovkin. But as it stands right now, he's being rumored to either fight Gary Spike O'Sullivan, but likely not him. They're saying it's going to be Andy Lee. Billy Joe Saunders fighting April the 14th against Martin Murray. By the way, Danny Jacobs is coming back April the 28th. So they're fighting in the same month against two different opponents. And the fight makes perfect sense for both of them to fight. But once again, as I said, the political mumbo jumbo is in the way. As you know, his biggest win, or what should have been a win, was Martin Murray against Sergio Martinez. I remember years back I watched that fight live, and people were saying that Martin Murray was doing well cutting off the ring, for Sergio Martinez, but also Sergio Martinez was injured. The fight took place down in Argentina, and of course, since it was Sergio Martinez's first fight back in Argentina after being pretty much booted out of the country, no, he couldn't come back to the country or something like that around that time. He got the gift. So Martin Murray is a good pressure fighter, but at this point in time at 160, when he tried his hand at 168, it didn't work out. I'm wondering if his body should really be at 160 at this point in time in his career. Now, obviously, he's getting his ass whooped by Golovkin, but that was different. And at this point in time, before Danny Jacobs, he was the longest to go with Golovkin at this time. Now, he's getting the title shot. Let's go look at the rankings, because I'm trying to figure out, like, how... I don't remember. Oh, yeah, his name is there. Now, this is redundant, I know, but for people who don't know, when you're a champion, you have to fight somebody in the top 15. So here are the current champions, obviously. Golovkin is the WBC, WBA, and IBF. They are waiting for Golovkin's team to view over the contract and everything. That was the last news that came out. And basically, they're saying Canelo Golovkin 2 should be announced sometime in the next 2 weeks. Right now, it is January the 20th, 2018, exactly 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So Tom Loeffler of 360 Promotions, and I don't know if he's still with K2 or whatever the case may be, but basically he's Golovkin's promoter, has said that if something is not done by the end of January, then yes, there's a problem. But all things seem to be, on a go for Canelo versus Golovkin 2 for May the 5th. I believe that Saturday falls on the 5th this year. And they're trying to figure out if they want to do it in New York, but in Vegas. Obviously, Vegas always puts up a lot of money for the fight, especially when it comes to the tax purposes. But also, New York is supposed to be making a bid. So Canelo and Golovkin are out of the mix. You have Jamal Charlo, who's supposed to be fighting Hugo Centeno, likely on March the 3rd on an undercard of Wilder versus Ortiz for the WBC interim, making him the WBC mandatory no matter who has that belt. So the winner of that is in a very, very good situation. You know, as I said, you got Andy Lee, who's been quite in. Who's been inactive, but he has been fighting. But he hasn't had a big fight since Billy Joe Saunders. You know, and at this point in time, as you can see, Billy Joe Saunders had this belt since 2015. You know, so the end of this year would be 3 years. It's been over 2 years he's had this belt. You know, so, and he's been active, but he did really good with this David Lemieux fight because now people are saying shit like he's the next Mayweather. Seriously. You know, his stock has risen. You know, he put on a good fight and everything, and he put on a perfect performance that he was supposed to, and displaying his boxing ability and his charisma at the press conferences, being able to work the microphone. But now, looking at the Martin Murray fight, yeah, Martin Murray has some history with HBO because forgot what I was going to say. I'm talking too fast. Let's calm down. Let's digress. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. Let's go look at Martin Murray. You know he was in the running to get Canelo before Canelo fought Khan, but he can't get into the United States. This was coming from the vice president of Golden Boy. From a conversation I overheard at the Hopkins versus Kovalev press conference. He was close to getting Canelo. Now, let's go look at the resume. Sergio Martinez back in 2013. You know, this was that fight in Argentina where he should have won. He should have been WBC champion. And if he would have been WBC champion that night, basically it would have been it's like a fucking Back to the Future type of thing. This whole Canelo thing probably wouldn't even be, you know, happening. It's crazy. It's crazy. So, you know, he went on to get these wins, fought himself up to a big fight with Golovkin. At that point in time, he was the WBC silver champion and a future WBC mandatory for whoever had that WBC title at the time, which was Canelo, if I'm correct, at this time, or Cotto at this time. I forgot. Then, you know, he moved up to 168. Met Arthur Abraham. He lost in a split decision. You know, then he decided to fight at 168 again against George Groves, lost there, and said, okay, well, now it's time to go back down to 160 for Gabriel Rosado at 160. This was a highly controversial fight. Nonetheless, in my opinion, he got the win. And then 160 again against this guy, and now Billy Joe Saunders. So I'm guessing that, you know, just like we talked about with the politics before, is that he's not with Matchroom. You know, he's not with Matchroom. But nonetheless, it's a good fight. It's just like, see, me, in what I do, I have to accept these fights because, you know, I see like the storylines in a lot of these fights and I understand the politics behind it. But also I understand how fans are pissed. They're like, well, what the fuck? Why are you not fighting Danny Jacobs? Fans don't be liking to hear that shit. You know, when it comes to like the politics getting in the way of fighters fighting, and now the networks are actually realistically, you can say the networks are the promoters. I mean, they can say, listen, we don't want this fight, but make this fight. But he can't go over here because you're with us and he's with us too because he's with you. You know, it's crazy. You know, it's crazy. And with the way things are, we can never possibly see Danny Jacobs versus Billy Joe Saunders. So they're both trying to get David Lemieux. I mean, they're both trying to get Golovkin and Canelo. I'm sorry. I'm not sleeping well the last few days. So after these videos, I'm going to catch up. I'm going to take a nap, get ready for the night's fights. But that's enough for now. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. This will be taking place April the 14th. It's going to have Terry Flanagan. He's moved up versus Maurice Hooker. That's going to be a good fight. And it's a belt on the line, too. If you're interested in helping out with this fight or going to some press conferences or media workouts, you know, we need help here at FightView 360. We need help. You know, if you're responsible and you carry yourself well, contact me. Now, I told people to contact me before, but we wasn't quite ready. I apologize for that, but we're ready now. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. Please subscribe.